Local 514's host, Savannah Craig, interviewed Bridget Tolley, the founder of Families of Sisters in Spirit, a support organization led by and for families of murdered, missing Indigenous women, girls, Two Spirit, and trans folks. During the interview, Craig and Tolley discussed Tolley's personal story and the lack of accountability in current systems, especially regarding missing, murdered Indigenous women, girls, Two Spirit, and trans folks issues.
So I have a few questions to ask. If there's anything you wish not to answer or, whatever it may be, just let me know. That's not a problem.
Okay.
So are you comfortable just putting the camera down just a little bit?
I'm just looking for my glasses. There we go.
No problem.
I can't see anything. Oh my God. 1 second.
Take your time.
Well, I'm getting cataract surgery there soon, so hopefully I've been wearing glasses since I've been 25 and I can't wait to see.
Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Yeah. Are you comfortable there?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much. So I just want to ask, I know we've spoken a good amount about this, but if you would mind just discussing a little bit about how you've been personally affected by the issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada.
Well, it's been hard because we've been looking for accountability by the police and the government for decades now. And it's hard to do this, and all we asked for was truth and accountability in our cases, and I feel that if we would have got this, we wouldn't be here doing this stuff 20 years later. We would be doing something great. But unfortunately, it didn't happen yet since I started in the past 2 decades anyway. And this is what, it hurts it hurts because when something happens to another family and you see it, you read it, you see it, you watch it on the news, and like even myself, I said, oh my God, that sounds like my own case, it sounds like my own story, but just a different family, So it's very triggering, and it's hard because we all want accountability. They want accountability and truth from us, and we give them that. Or what happens? We go to jail. Them, we ask them for truth and accountability in our cases, and we don't get no answers. So it's only a one-way street to work together and to be accountable. It's got to work both ways, And if we're gonna, go to jail or whatever, when something happens, when we do wrong, or hurt somebody, kill somebody, we're gonna end up in jail. But these guys are not accountable, and it's so hard to get police reports for families, any information, you have to pay, you have to get a lawyer, you have to do all these things. Why isn't it just given to families when, if everything is so up and up about the cases, why not give all the cases to the families? And even the ones that are unresolved, like my mother's case, I was calling for accountability and truth, and I was very lucky to get my mother's police report. In those days, we had no idea what was happening. Even when I got the report, the Sisters in Spirit initiative didn't come out yet, so we knew nothing about that in 2003 or earlier than that. So then after that, when I finally did get the report, that's where I found everything and all the mistakes and everything. And I seen for myself, and I believe in my heart there that some of these unsolved cases or something, if you would show that if they would reach out to the families and show the families what they have, maybe the families have more information or they know something. Because I knew, like in my police report, I knew all the police on the reserve, I knew the witnesses, I knew the people that struck and killed my mother. So I knew all that, and I knew who was family again, so that's important. And there was 5 family members involved in the investigation on my mother's case. So you see, if I would have never seen that, I would have never known. They also said that my mother died because she was drunk and not because she got hit by the car. And I didn't know that neither, so they're making it look like she was drunk. In my mother's case, there was no coroner. So the coroner made up his own report again. He based on what the police said, oh, she was drunk, she drank beer every day. This is what the coroner wrote in his report, and he never even seen the body. I was shocked that he never seen the body, and in the meantime, this coroner they had gotten my mother's cases from Hull, Quebec. In the meantime, we live in Maniwaki. How come they didn't get the Maniwaki coroner when they had 5 of the brothers on scene that were investigating the scene? Maybe that's why they didn't want the coroner to come, because we all know each other, you know? So she would have known there was 5 family members on the scene and stuff like that, the coroner from Maniwaki. But this guy from Hull wrote a report and never even seen my mother, and said that she she was drunk, and you know and that's the first paragraph that they wrote on my mother's coroner's report, that she drank beer every day. That was in the first paragraph. So that was pretty. It's triggering, anything like that, and I hear all about these other cases that families cannot get police report and stuff like that. And I believe there's a lot of mistakes and a lot of covering up is the reason why they don't show it. Like even my police, one of the police officers who is now the chief of police on the reserve, Paul McDougall, he was the first cousin of the cop that killed my mother 20 years ago. And now, because of no accountability, he's now chief of police. He was one of the family members of the cop that killed my mother. And he also, when he was the first one to get to the scene that night. I don't know where he was coming from town, but this accident happened around 11:30, before midnight. And he was coming from town with his wife, but he was not on duty at the time. And the accident happened. He stopped at the accident. He seen it was his cousin. He seen my mother dead on the ground. And he decides to leave to bring home his wife, who is a witness, the first witness on the scene. He brings her home. And then he comes back half an hour later in his uniform and identifies my mother. So, and this, he says it right himself in his report, and I couldn't believe this. He brought home the first witness. How can a cop do this? They're witnesses to the scene of the crime. My mother was dead. So it's really frustrating 20 years later, now that he's my chief of police, and I've been calling it for him to resign, or truth, or accountability. And he has not talked to my family since. And then last year we had the government of Canada, not the government of Canada, government of Quebec, Mr. Ian Lafreniere, and representatives from the public safety and the SPVM Montreal. They all came to my reserve to apologize to our family for the way we were treated that night my mother was killed. And the Kittigan-Zibi police, the cousin of the cop that killed my mother, he decided to go to a graduation instead of coming to the meeting with us, which his cousin was killed my mother, with ministers and our family, and our chief of police don't show up. You know, how crazy is that? Since then, they don't talk to my family. We don't know if we're getting services or what's going to happen if we call them. There's no accountability, no talking to the community. I asked them to call a community meeting. You know, I don't want to go meet him alone. I want everybody to hear what he has to say. There's nothing, you know, there's no confidentiality in this case anymore. It's wide open, you know. Let's talk about it. Let's see what happens. If I did that, you know, I would be fired right away. You know, if I did that in somebody's case, I would have been fired right away, you know. But them, they keep going like, you know, nothing happened. You know, and this is hard to deal with when you see it every day. And this is what I see. And it's hard every damn day. So I'm sure it's hard, you know, for other families that do not have truth, accountability, and or anything, you know, can't even get a police report. Like I said, I was very lucky to get one. So that was, you know, that's where it all started, you know, was that police report, because the truth was all there and they can't say nothing and they can't change it, because I keep asking myself, you know, I've been talking about this for 20 years and I keep asking myself, you know, when somebody lies about you, they're going to sue you right away for defamation. I've been talking about this for 20 years. The same story. Nothing's changed. I ask people to come and see the police report. Nobody wants to see my police report on my reserve. Why? The truth is there. Everything I said for the past 20 years is the truth. They would have sued me. If I didn't tell the truth, they wouldn't wait this long. Kitagon ZB as lawyers. I went against them before, 2008 till 2013 in another lawsuit. They defamed me. I sued them in another lawsuit. As soon as they said something wrong about me, I got a lawyer. And I know they would have did the same if anything I was saying was not true. And for the Minister of Indian Affairs, Ian Lafreniere, and the Public Safety, and for the SPVM to come to apologize and talk to my family before my own native Kitaganzi police force talks to us. You know, who are they getting paid to help? Who are they getting paid to protect their own families? Because this is a small reserve, you know? So this is why it's like crazy, you know, and it's not right. And we're not going to move forward unless we have some accountability and truth, you know? Is my family going to be blacklisted and not get any service from the police or the health center or anybody? You know, that's crazy. So this is why I'm here, and I'm still going to speak out till I drop dead. Because, you know, I don't want my grandchildren or the next 7 generations to be treated like this. You know, we're all human. Chief and council are supposed to protect us and help us, not tell us take you to court or take them to court or whatever. You know, we're supposed to help each other. We voted them in. They're supposed to help the people. You know, so this is why I've been fighting for this. And you know, I just don't want my family to go through it. You know, I even already bring my granddaughters come with me now to my vigils, which is, I'm happy they're there. I have my granddaughter and I have my 80-year-old granddaughter coming with me to vigils, and they shouldn't have to be doing that to fight for their grandmother. How many generations is it going to take for us to fight for my grandmother to get truth and accountability in her case? So this is why families keep going, and they just sometimes I don't know where they get their strength, but we keep going. And for truth and accountability, I'm never going to stop. This is what I started out with when I first started. Sorry. When I first started, I wanted truth and accountability. It wasn't about money. We don't have any money. We don't ask the government for funding. We just want truth and accountability. 20 years later, we're still asking for the same thing. Even today, families, if somebody goes missing, who does a family call? Where do they go? Back to the police? Some police, there was one girl missing here from Ottawa, and they called the police about 10:30 at night. And the police said, oh, call us back in the morning. So we get answers like that. And, in the morning she can be long gone, so it's crazy. And it's why we worry and we do what we do, and we try to honor and remember all our missing and murdered women, even for Maisie and Shannon, you think about them and they're missing from my reserve. Nobody talks about them, only the families do. So, even crazy. Hang on one sec.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, this is what I don't want my grandchildren to have to look forward to when they get older. So I hope that, we can see some change. There's a lot of violence, all kind of types of violence. But families are calling for truth and accountability in their cases, and we want the truth from the police and the government. Crazy that we have to ask for that, especially from them, who are supposed to be telling us the truth in the first place. And yeah, I guess till we get it, we're going to keep fighting and keep speaking out. There's more and more missing and murdered Indigenous women, and so much money has been put into this, millions and millions of dollars, and recommendations after recommendations and more recommendations, and all these people in politics, they should know what's going on. Why don't they do it, fix it, get it over with? The same on the reserve. They don't want to. It's okay if they're wrong, but it's not okay if we're wrong. Same thing there, there's nothing different there. So who's helping us? Even when I went to see my chief, when this first happened to my mother, he says it's a family problem. I said, family? Well, she got hit on one of the Quebec major highways by the, Quebec police, and he's telling me it's a family problem. I would have understood if my mother got struck in my yard, in my driveway, but getting hit on a Quebec major highway and by the police, and, the way everything was investigated and everything, he knew, my chief knew what was going on by then, because I had sent my when I got the police report, like I didn't know what to do or where to go. So the first thing I did was, like, I got the police report and 2003 in March of 2003. So then I looked around for a couple of months, and then I sent it straight to the dentology to Quebec. But I didn't know anything. I didn't send no proof or nothing. I just sent a report. I wanted to hear from them. So June, I think June 1st or June, the beginning of June, I sent it to dentology. Nothing, just like that. I said, you tell me what's wrong. I wanted them to tell me what was wrong, what they found out. So then 2 weeks after I sent it, I got that police report back from dentology. I don't even think they had time to read it or look at it. They said it was a homicide, but they didn't want to be involved or something. I don't know what happened. But they had sent it back right away. Like, I swear to God, I sent it June 1st. I think I got it back June 12th, somewhere around there. So I said, okay, well, after that, that's when I went on my own, and I digged and I searched, and I wrote letters to everybody, and everybody in that report. I asked for access to information, anything, any pictures, anything. And I just went I knocked at everybody's doors. I even knocked at the coroner's door in Hull, and he wasn't too happy to see me, that guy, and he just told me to make an appointment, but never did anyway. No use after. But yeah, I did a lot of work.
I have a question about something you mentioned. When you said that you got a lawyer to protect yourself from defamation and protect yourself against things that were being said about you, what was being said?
They said we were doing some illegal stuff. Chief and counsel had wrote a letter saying I was involved in legal cigarettes, drug trafficking, and weapons. And this never happened. I didn't have a criminal record. And I took them to court, which is, it's wrong to say that. And I never had a weapon in my life. My father shot himself when I was 11 years old. He committed suicide. He shot himself in the heart. I would never, ever own or touch a gun in my life. I was very mad and upset when this happened. I took them to court. Lasted 5 years. Not one of them showed up. Not one of them, my chief counsel, showed up to court after they told me take them to court. I settled because I was getting sick. 2013. This has nothing to do with my mother's case. This was a different case. But I think they were trying to just give me a bad name because of what I was trying to get some answers from the police. And this is what I believe in my heart happened. And they wrote that letter and they put my name on it saying I was involved in that illegal cigarettes, drug trafficking, and weapons. 2008, a few years after I started talking about my mother. But that's okay. They can say what they want. They were wrong and they paid. But still, they don't, still not acknowledging nothing, still not want to talk truth, nothing. They avoid me. They avoid me every chance they get. They don't want to talk about it. They still don't want to talk about my mother even after the minister came to the reserve. This never happened before. It was something once in a lifetime, maybe, I don't know if it'll happen again, if they'll apologize to anybody else. Seems like nobody's happy for us. I don't know. I was happy because for me, after fighting for 20 years and to finally hear the minister and the police and everybody to apologize, I know it's not accountability, but for me, it was an acknowledgement that after all the stuff I did in 20 years, for them to come to meet me personally, to say, I'm sorry the way your family was treated, that was a big thing. Nobody cares, they all want to believe the police. That's fine. Believe them.
Thank you.
That's their choice. But I know the truth and I'm going to keep speaking my truth. And let's do it, If they want me to lie, is that what they want me to do? I grew up, everybody's saying, don't lie, tell the truth. That's all you hear growing up. Don't lie, tell the truth. Now I'm growing up, they want me to lie for them, lie, saying, oh, they didn't do nothing. They're good people after they stabbed me in the back like that. Yes, I got stabbed by the back, in my back, by my own people. It's okay though, whatever they feel good about it, fine, I could sleep at night and I could sleep good every night. I don't have nothing to hide. Everybody knows me. I've been out there for the past 2 decades. I'm not rich. I don't have a job. You know, everything is done from my heart for my grandchildren, for the next generation. And this is why I just keep fighting today, and I'm going to still fight. I just need another month of rest there and to heal, and I'm coming back, and I'm going to start again in July because it's my mom's birthday there in August night. And so maybe I'll do something that day, but I'll do what I can to help as many as I can and to share. I just wish, all these organizations that said they were going to help families get police reports and stuff like that, the National Inquiry, everybody that was supposed to help us, I don't know where they are. I don't know who's helping. These organizations they get money to help families, but they're only there like a 9 to 5 job. Things happen at night and on weekends. And again, there's nobody to call except ourselves. When somebody goes missing, it's always the families that are doing their own work. And they still do their own work today. And I'm so happy and I'm so proud of them, because if you want the truth, you got to do it yourself, and I believe that in my heart, because only you knows, you know. Like I said, if I would have never seen that my mother's police report there, oh my God, I couldn't believe that 3 police forces made so many mistakes like that. They didn't have warrants to go into houses. They had jurisdiction, the native police had jurisdiction to protect the body in the scene. No, he freaking left to go freaking bring his wife home, and they didn't do all that. 5 family members on the scene. Don't tell me none of those cops knew conflict of interest. We even had our chief of police there. He came to talk to me. I went to the scene that night at 12:30 at night. I went and he talked to me and he told me, go home. And he let the cop that took off with his wife come back and identify my mother. I was there. I could have did it myself, you know. Crazy. None of those cops knew conflict of interest. When you see they all know each other. They work together. The whole family, a family of 5 cops. Crazy, and like crazy, crazy, crazy. And this is why, you know, I don't care what they say. It's wrong. What happened was wrong. So, in my eyes, definitely. I hope it never happens again. And I don't want it to happen again. So that's and I'm still gonna go, you know, like I said. As long as I can breathe, I'll be somewhere.
Thank you for taking the time to share your story. I'm I'm sorry to bring up so much emotions, but I do really appreciate you connecting with me and being vulnerable with me. I know it takes a lot.
Yeah, it does, you know, and it hurts. Like I said, it hurts because there's no change. No change. And a lot of families ask for help, and we have no help. So we have to help each other.
Mhm.
And this is why I try to, you know, share my story, because I have a police report.
Mhm.
You know, not too many families have that.
Mhm.
So I can speak about this,
Mhm.
and I can speak truth about it. That was one of the best things I did. And I swear, if anybody wants help or any kind of way, the first thing you do, and the sooner you get it, is that police report. You can get it today. They say you can get it easier than I got it. Get that police report, no matter what. Don't trust it. Just get it. You know, that's number one. Then you'll see for yourself what's in it, what they did, and who was there. So that's the most important thing. If we can get all our police reports there, you would see, why don't they give it to us? Why don't they show us? You know, they should show families, bring them in and say, this is where we are, this is what we're doing. Do you have any other information, any updates, any, you know, anything? But it doesn't, it doesn't, they just hide everything until the investigation is closed. And then what? Just like my mother's case, they closed it 3 months after my mother was killed in October. In February, it was closed, and we didn't find out. I didn't find out till November that year from a newspaper reporter. Ledois had called me, and he says, how do you feel about your mother's case being closed? I said, what? And I said, nobody ever told us anything. And then only when I got the report there, the police report, I found out that they closed the report in February. So open and shut, October to February, closed case. No, you know, they didn't talk to us. There was nothing. They just closed it anytime they felt like, you know, without even talking to us or telling us what happened. Then I find out from a reporter. Thank goodness, because that's when it all started. Was you know, that's when I went after the police report. And then after that, I heard from the reporter in November. So it was Christmas holidays that time. So after in January, after holidays, I went to see a lawyer, and then I had that police report in my hand in March. So from November, the reporter, then January, the lawyer, and it was in my hands. I didn't, I asked everywhere. I couldn't get it, so I went straight to a lawyer. I didn't want to mess around. Paid what I had to, and that was the best money I spent in my life. So that's my advice. If anything there, you got to do what you can, especially if the case is closed. You get that police report ASAP. My advice.
Okay, I'll be sure to include that. Thank you.
Okay,
you.
well, let me know there when you do something, or hopefully, maybe we'll do something too in KZ on my mother's birthday. So hopefully, we'll see anyway. Hopefully we'll do something good this year.
And let me know if there's any word that needs to get out about anything. I'm
Yes,
here, so
now I know you're there.
don't hesitate to reach out. And
Yeah,
if there's any research or anything that needs to be done, also don't hesitate to reach out.
yeah,
I'm happy to do that.
awesome. I will for sure. And thank you for doing this. It's so important. Like I said, it hurts, but it has to be told.
Yeah.
There's not just the good we can hear. We have to hear, there's not just good stuff in our lives that happen. And if we don't talk about this, it just builds up, it builds up in your body and it makes you sick. And this is what's happening to a lot of people, including me, and this is why when I settled my lawsuit in 2013, was that's when I had started my insulin. I was getting more sick there on diabetes. So I started insulin in July of 2013, and then I got scared because it was my first time on insulin, and I said, oh my God, picking yourself every day. I said that really scared me. So I thought I was like under too much stress when I was having my lawsuit. And that's what I said, I better stop before I end up dead. So I stopped and I said, to hell with you. When I started that lawsuit there against the band, I needed proof. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about anything. I needed the proof. And I got the proof and I settled. I thought about it. I said, here's, now I got it. They wouldn't have settled with me if they couldn't, they couldn't. So I knew that though, but I did it for my own personal health.